Yesterday, I did a piece where the editor of the New York Times, Joe Kahn, he said he wasn't going to do anything to sort of prop up the president or anything of that sort, which nobody's asking him to do. And he wasn't going to try to spin any kind of story for the president, which he shouldn't. All he needs to do is tell the truth. Well, as you guys know, right now, if you were to ask the Americans in totality based on the polls, who's better for the economy and which economy was better, they have a tendency to give Donald Trump the edge. In some polls, the edge by quite a bit. But the reality of what turns around in America's economy and what's successful in America's economy, that is far from the truth. The truth is Donald Trump was a disaster. He was a disaster that was living off of borrowed time from the economy that he inherited. Now, I want you to listen to this piece here because, as it turns out, I think more visuals of this sort will show Americans that they are, in fact, remembering a con and living through something that's moving us not fast enough, but moving us forward. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side, because this is a great way that the president shaded Donald Trump. Check this out.
Artificial Intelligence Center on the very same site of a failed Trump-era project that was supposed to create tens of thousands of jobs, but never got off the ground.
It's going to be transformative, not just here, but worldwide. It's not only significant investment in infrastructure in Racine, but for the people of Racine.
The Microsoft project is expected to create 2,300 union construction jobs and more than 2,000 permanent positions. 6 years ago at the same location, then President Trump heralded a $10 billion investment by electronics manufacturer Foxconn, promising to bring 13,000 jobs to the community.
This is the eighth wonder of the world.
But the project fizzled. The field where Trump once broke ground with golden shovels, now empty.
They dug a hole with those golden shovels, and then they fell into it. Foxconn turned out to be just that, a con. Go figure.
Biden eager to sell his economic accomplishments to skeptical voters.
My predecessor made promises which he broke more than kept, left a lot of people behind in communities like Racine. On my watch, we make promises and we keep promises. And we leave no one behind.
Now, work on this new Microsoft project, we're told, is already underway. President Biden certainly well aware of that new poll out today, showing him leading Donald Trump in Wisconsin 50 to 44% in a two-way race. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has been complaining to reporters that he's stuck in court instead of.
Now, it is important for you to realize, folks, again, one thing is, I hear the reporters constantly say, well, it's about how Americans feel about the economy, how they feel about it. Well, numbers are not a feeling. Numbers are hard facts, right? That we have better healthcare, that we have a whole lot of other things now compared to under the Trump administration, that we are not allowing pandemics to just kill people, that we're doing things responsibly. All of those have economic value. And when the New York Times editor points out that he's not going to do anything to help the president, that he, in other words, they have a tendency to believe that apparently he believes that telling the truth about things the way it should be is wrong, that he's not going to do anything to make a change. Well, the only reason Americans have any inclination that Donald Trump has a positive to the economy is because of bad reporting, yes, from the New York Times and all the newspapers who don't reinforce reality. When they go ahead and hear Donald Trump says, well, the economy was very good under mine, etc., instead of reporting that like Trump says the economy was good under him, Biden says the economy is good under him. No, that's not what Americans should be hearing. Americans should be hearing from a unbiased paper, Donald Trump is lying to you, and the president is actually giving the truth. Just like we had in this little piece that we just showed there, we are building the Microsoft and the chip factories. He said he was going to build it. He said he was going to do it, but it was all a con. Again, It is not facts are facts, numbers are numbers. And when you hear a newspaper like the New York Times, the editor of the New York Times, the executive editor, Joe Kahn, talks about Americans right now, their top priority is immigration and the economy and then freedom, etc. What he is doing is he is directing the narrative and then say, well, look at what Americans are interested in. And what they're interested in is what you have promoted, newspapers. If you would tell the truth, newspapers, if you won't be scared about being called biased for telling the truth, newspapers, then we wouldn't have a problem in electing the right people. This doesn't only apply to Donald Trump versus President Biden. This applies to just about every election. It's a reason why Texas is not completely blue, because of having a completely and entirely misinformed citizenry. How can people in rural areas possibly vote for the same politician, Republican politicians, that is ensuring that their hospitals are closed, that is ensuring that they don't get the financial support that they merit from getting from the United States government, given the necessity of us having those folks in rural areas for farming, for cattle ranching, for all these other things that they provide, that this type of economy does not pay them appropriately for. The only solution to an economy that doesn't pay the farmer right, that doesn't pay the rancher right, that doesn't pay these guys based on the capitalist model, is to have a system that correct for that deficiency. And that's what progressives have always stood for, ensuring that we clean up the mess that a failed economic system that doesn't work for everybody can handle. And if these people in rural America, if Americans in general got the right information like what we presented here with who builds a factory, who failed to build a factory, etc., America would be more informed, and we would have a better, more informed country voting in its interest.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.